Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here. You know, everything that we involve ourselves in on a daily basis in one way or another is connected to the truth of life, especially from the perspective of one who has been given to recognize when abuse exists and to expose it and perhaps be able to advocate and promote a system that is more productive of that which people desire. And it appears, ladies and gentlemen, that everywhere we go, there's some of the baddest things happen there, bad apples everywhere. And it makes it easier for me to understand that we as individuals truly must have with us at all times righteousness and evil. And we constantly have to make choice about what we will be representative of in every given moment. And if we're not careful, we're probably making some decisions that perhaps we might not be so happy of at some time. You see, we talk about our problems here that I'm concerned about exposing and perhaps making sure that we can do something about it. We talk about how people used to say the purpose of Donald Trump on this scene in America. God sent him to do so many different things. And one thing we can be certain that he did, so we can give God the credit for that, is to expose all that ugliness that he brought, the hatred, the racism, the bigotry, the lies, and all the other stuff that goes with it. He brought that in such a way that all of those other representatives of these same types of evil felt emboldened, and they came out from under the tables. They came out from under the carpets and beds, and they started standing up. So they, at one time, had under the cover of law or whatever that was covering them up, they pretended as if they were legitimate individuals. They pretended as if they were as moral as anyone else. But given the first opportunity to say, well, if you're there, come on out, they came on out. And so now we see them for what they are. And we've also found out that it's no limit. It goes all across the board. It goes all across the board. We find out that it's happening in the United States Congress. We find out that we have senators who are not concerned about the basic life of people. They are dealing with politics. We got it in the House of Representatives. We got it in the United States Senate as well. We got it usually in the White House, and we now find out that it is in the Supreme Court. How can we consider ourselves a free nation, a free people? How can we consider ourselves experiencing justice when we have situations where constantly people are challenging the situations that end up in a court, that ends up perhaps even in the Supreme Court, in a Supreme Court that is stacked to represent a conservative view? Now, how is that supposed to do anything for those who are liberals or those who are progressives? What is that supposed to do for them? Tie their hands and they are confined to this position as long as these guys are alive? And it was in itself a staged act where you gerrymandering people to make it appropriate for you to take control over particular areas of a political geography and stack the Congress, Senate, House of Representatives, so you can have the power to control and manipulate people. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I tell you about God. See, what you have there are people always protecting their interests. It doesn't really matter, and I want to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter whether you're white, you're going to do it. You're going to be protecting your interests. As far as you're concerned, God is white, and you are his chosen people. But if you're black, it's the same thing. God is black, and black people are God's chosen people. The truth of the matter is this: which one of them or which one of you represent God, and what kind of God do you represent? Some say we represent a God in a way that we're willing to kill, we're willing to do anything, we're willing to lie and get everybody else to believe these lies just so we can have the power to represent the God. And you got the preachers, you got the congregations, you got all of these rich pimp preachers out there. When I say pimp preachers, I'm talking about preachers out here with millions and millions of dollars. You can't tell the difference between them and the gamblers and average Joe crook. And so you got them out there talking about, here's the one difference. Who was concerned about everybody? Who was concerned about the little man, what you call little? Who is concerned that there are no little people? Is concerned that there are no big people? Who's concerned that there's only a power, the power of God? And that power can live in each one of us and allow us to be as that power of God through the things that we do as a representative force of that God that aids the people. That's a magnificent thing. So when you start thinking about stuff like that, you start saying, well, what does the Supreme Court do for you? It doesn't do anything. So we the people have to protect ourselves from the system. We have to protect ourselves from liars and cheaters who stand before us and do this and tell us that they didn't say stuff that we're looking at them say. We have to protect ourselves from people who come into a system of power and stay there for the rest of their lives, have no concern whatsoever about some people. And so they railroad them and kick them down. No, we have to protect ourselves. The only way we can protect ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, is to make sure that these resources that come from a power that we can't see, no, let's just put it like it is. Resources that come from God. I'm not talking about anything that come from, I'm talking about resources that come from God. Resources that He has stashed in the earth, on the earth, above the earth, in the earth, seen and unseen, for the benefit of those who have and can find need. The gifts and talents that have come here through the individuals of us, bringing those gifts as information, as whatever they're used for, from the heavenly source, from the power source, to us, through these individuals, that we can utilize that. The computers, utilize the telephone, utilize the electric light, utilize the cars, utilize all of those things that we utilize for the purpose for which they are utilized. Didn't cost any money. Free gifts. Came here free. Bill Gates, he's a smart man and smart enough to do what he's done, but that's about it. He probably couldn't even dig a ditch. Probably not smart enough to do that. Who else do you think is a genius? What's this guy named Smurf? Whoever, the richest man on earth is, a lot of people might think he's a super genius. He probably couldn't iron a pair of pants. He might tell you he's too smart to do that. He got enough money to pay somebody else to do it. Yeah, I'm sure he does. If you're the richest man on earth, he can tell you a lot of stories that many of you would be quite familiar with. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if there's going to be any major changes in the lives of anybody that's suffering, it's going to come because people decide that they're going to make a difference. They're going to be able to wiggle the storm, say, hey, you might not have to do so much today if you can just wiggle to the left. But wiggling to the left might make it very complicated for your little ones who are going to grow up and going to be left with that big gap that you left because you wiggled instead of dealing with the situation. So I'm telling everybody that's listening to me, if you want this peace and prosperity and freedom in your life, if you want this joy, your fulfillment of your dreams, if you want your needs, your wants, and your desires met, you're going to have to come together and start agreeing that all of you are going to have to work together and protect one another, because nobody cares about anybody unless you care about yourself. And if you care about yourself, you're going to agree. You better start getting some protection. And how is that? By looking and caring about everybody else. There you go. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't cost you a penny. It's about life. It's from God. It's fantastic. Now, this is why I'm telling you this. And I challenge anybody who got something better. I challenge anybody who got something better. Till next time, Eddie Marcus saying good night.